want to just begin by stating a kind of truth, really important truth, and we can go from there. And it's this, that at the heart of Christianity, like what's most essential about it, is not sin management or behavior modification. But at the heart of Christianity is a real living relationship with the person of Jesus Christ. And everything flows from there. And if that's true, we could also say it this way. At the heart of the Catholic Church is not mainly a set of things we do, although they're important. But at the heart of the church is the Eucharist, the real living presence of Jesus. And everything we're about as Catholics flows from there. It's why we call it the source and the summit. Okay, we'll go from there. Now I want to share with you a story that I'd come across. Most of you are familiar, obviously, with Theodore Roosevelt, one of the most active, vigorous presidents there was. But what most people don't know is, as a boy, he had not great health. Kind of severe asthma, really severe nearsightedness that nobody knew. And yet, even as a young boy, he was bright. He had an interest in zoology, partly because he could see the animals up close, And when his dad gave him a gun at 13 years old, and he went target practice with his friends, they were shooting at targets that he couldn't see. So he told his dad, ended up getting his first pair of glasses, and it was like a whole world opened up to him. He went on to become like an avid adventurer and rancher and hunter, and of course, the president. But when he was writing his autobiography, he said, "I had no idea how beautiful the world was until I got those spectacles." Now, without wanting to oversimplify it, the reality is the gift of faith is that for you and I, and so much more. Like the gift of faith, a living, personal, daily relationship with Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life, allows us to truly see. Like to see the meaning of things, to see the world from His eyes, to see the truth of things. And it's like when we stray from that, we don't see. Or we see glimpses or partial. Our first reading put it this way, especially when we ask, well, what is this faith? Well, it's a gift. It's a gift we receive at baptism. But any gift has to be exercised to deepen, to become actually the center and meaning of our lives. So what is this faith? Well, we read in Sirach, it's trust. If you trust in God, you will live. You won't just exist. You won't just get through the week. You won't just survive, you will live. You will have abundant life. Immense is the wisdom of the Lord. He is mighty in power and all-seeing, and His eyes are on those who approach Him with reverence. Now, all of you can speak to this from your own relationships, how relationships work with a spouse, with a friend, with children. Like, it's all trust. It's all trust and love. And how does trust and love, practically grow? Well, it grows through good habits. Our relationships have to have good habits. How we communicate, when we communicate, how we work through problems, how we make sure we don't drift from each other. And our relationship with the living God built on trust is no different. It's all about the habits that we put in and we work on daily, weekly, and throughout the course of our lives. So this past year, individually, like hundreds in this parish, so you could say communally, St. Ambrose took on one of the most important habits that we could. And it's the habit of perpetual Eucharistic adoration. We made a determined decision to come before Jesus, the center, the source, to spend time with him. Think about how many hundreds of divine appointments there are in people's calendars in this parish. Like, okay, it's my time. I'm going to go. And the fruits have been amazing. Like, I wish I could give you a glimpse from my vantage point as pastor how much has begun to flow in our families and in our parish. It's like refocused everything. Like, oh yeah, Jesus, that's why we're the church. And he's here, he's actually present. He says, come to me, all you who are burdened. I'm the rest that you seek. I will share with you my wisdom, my power, my way of seeing. Your life is beautiful. The world is beautiful, even though it's broken. In fact, I asked on Wednesday, I was going to be speaking to like 120 some parents whose children are going to be making their first Holy Communion. They just made the sacrament of reconciliation. Now, let's just state a fact without being discouraged by it, but I would say 15% of those couples are in the habit of attending Sunday Mass at this point. And after First Communion, it will likely be 15%, maybe 16% if we're hopeful. So I said to myself, well, I do this every year, and they expect it from me. Tell them about the gift of the Eucharist and Sunday Mass and the importance of coming. So I said, I'm going to ask a parishioner. He's at daily Mass. Why don't you come and share? And for me, it was so powerful for them to hear from another parishioner the importance. He said, I'm here because my parents took me to Mass. And then he encouraged them to go into the chapel. Maybe they can't do an hour right now. Just go for 10 minutes, for 5 minutes. You know, a lot of these families, they might not even know that we have the chapel, that it's open 24 hours, that Jesus is actually present there in the monstrance, in the Eucharist. I could not think of a greater habit of holiness that our parish could take on. It's so powerful. It catches us. Like personally, whenever I go, I always come away never feeling like I've been cheated of time. I feel like my burdens are lifted. I'm lighter. There's a different kind of peace. There's a different kind of strength to live whatever my circumstance is more positively. Like he tells me I'm not alone. So what is this Eucharistic adoration? Well, there's no one right way. It's a presence. It's a being present to. It's a relationship. Personally, this is what I typically do. I breathe first. You know, you're not a machine. Sometimes we lose touch with our body and our breath, and I just let myself breathe in his presence. And then encouraged by St. Therese, who would say, by a sheer act of faith, I enter into a relationship with God. And so I say, with permission and encouragement from Jesus, Abba, Father, right? He called Dad, Papa. Abba, Father, I believe that you're here, and I love you, and I believe you love me. Holy Spirit, come and pray in me. I don't know how to pray. Love in me, rejoice in me, forgive in me. Like, be with me. Pray in my spirit. Jesus, I know you're here, truly present, body, blood, soul, and divinity, and I want to draw my life from you. I want you to be my sight. I want to see. I want to know your strength. I want to know your peace. And then when I remember, which is more and more often now, I say, Mary, I would love it if you'd be here with me. You know, we say that prayer is a lifting of the heart and mind to God. Sometimes I can't lift. I can't. And then you think, well, if I can't elevate my mind and heart, then I can't pray. No, not true. Mary just holds us towards him and says, he's here. Just sit and be still and receive. And I'm there. Sometimes I might read a scripture and meditate on it. But I'm there and I breathe in the presence of God and I let him pray in me and I let him love me. And then sometimes, you know what happens for me? I drift off into old hurts. You know, I end up having a conversation, a familiar conversation with someone that I'm probably never going to have. And you're like, interesting, they're not even here. And then I just say, Lord, forgive me, forgive them. And I come back. So as part of this habit of holiness for our parish and individually, like each year, Father Ben and I will preach right directly at it. It's a way of encouraging those of you who have made this commitment to say, stay faithful, look for the fruits in your life. But it's also a way to encourage and invite those of you who maybe just like, maybe there's some obstacle with time, or maybe there's some resistance of getting closer to God. Whatever it is, it's okay, but it's to say, take a step in faith. It's a pretty amazing thing that our parish did this. It really is. Like, it really is a communal habit. No one person can do perpetual Eucharist adoration. Like my hour, 3 a.m. on Saturdays. And I got a wonderful prayer partner in front of me and a wonderful prayer partner after me. And it's like this solidarity. I feel closer to them when I see them even around in the parish, right? It's the tag off. So the whole reason this works is because people commit. You're going to see in the Commons area certain post-its which have tried to make it clear where some of the hours of need are, to kind of strengthen the partnership of things, to have prayer partners with each other. And I really want to encourage you. It'd be awesome if all of those post-it notes were gone at the end of this weekend. It really would. Now, what's the ideal goal? Just that we commit, because I want you to come whenever you can. That's the goal. There are sometimes I'm in there, and there's like 12 or 13 people. It's remarkable. And people flow in and out when they can, and that's the goal, but we need commitment. I even wouldn't mind a prayer partner at 3 a.m. on Saturday. I really wouldn't. It'd be wonderful. Just in case, huh? Just in case I don't answer the alarm when it goes off. I want to thank you. As I look out today, I want to thank you for your generosity. There are so many who have committed and have been willing to do that commitment. But I really want to just say, like, you know, those in the graveyards, there's a man who's a physician who said, Father, right now my life doesn't let me take the same hour every week. But he's generous in being a substitute. That's what makes it work. He goes once or twice a week, actually. It's just that he's helping to sub for other people's hour. So I want to thank you, and I want to encourage you to take this step. You won't regret it. The Lord is so faithful. How do we increase and deepen our relationship with him? It's through trust. And we trust him with our time, we trust him with our burdens, we share our joys with him, we give him thanks. You alone are the Holy One, you alone are the Most High. So where I started, if you trust in God, if you put your relationship with Jesus at the center, you will live. Immense is the wisdom of the Lord. He is mighty in power and all-seeing, and his loving gaze is upon those who approach him with reverence.